Welcome back, everybody. We're here to pull cards for June the 3rd. I am going to be pulling one card for overall energy, and then after that, we'll pull one card for each sign as we go through the zodiac, and that way we'll see what our predictions turn out to be. If you know your sun sign, you can get a little bit of juice from a nice reading like this, even though it's short. Or if you know your sun, moon, and rising, you can actually get quite a lot of information out of a quick reading like this. So let's start off with overall energy. What we have showing up here is the Six of Cups. This can be sentimentality. This also can be interacting with children or, yeah, I'm going to say sentimentality, thinking about old memories, or interacting with little ones who are creating their own memories that one day will be old. Let's see what we have going on as far as each sign and how this plays out for everybody for the day. Aries, you're up first. King of Cups coming up in reverse. This is interesting, Aries, because I feel like you're feeling very sentimental about something from the past, but there's somebody that you're talking to about that sentimentality that they don't feel the same way. They remember things a little bit differently than you do. Interesting. Next up, we're looking at Taurus. By the way, they don't feel so good about the past like you do. Taurus. Well, we've got the Tower showing up. Taurus, this is interesting. I think there could be something going on with a little one that's in your sphere of influence that is very upsetting for them. Doesn't have to be dramatically, terribly bad as far as with long-term consequences with that Tower, but definitely upsetting. Next, we're looking at Gemini. Gemini. Five of Cups showing up in reverse, Gemini. Gemini, this tells me that you're looking back at your childhood and you're recognizing that there was some positive stuff there, maybe more than you had realized before or thought about before. And you're letting go of some of the old negative feelings where you sort of had your younger years painted with a dark brush. You're starting to recognize that there were some pastels and some lightness in that picture as well, and letting go of some of those old negative feelings. Good for you. Cancer. Two of Pentacles showing up in reverse. Cancer. There's something here that has to do with a child where there's something that is falling through the cracks, something that's not getting accomplished or taken care of today. Doesn't even have to be a big thing. I was in one of those big grocery store, fabric store, home goods store, uh, megaplexes the other day with a young friend of mine, and she wanted to look at fabric after we got done looking at food that we were going to be making soon. And I totally spaced going by to look at fabric, and she wanted to make a pillow. So this is what this card reminds me of in combination with that Six of Cups. There's something going on where, there's just an obligation, or not even an obligation, but something that you wanted to do having to do with a little one that is not actually happening the way that you would like for it to have happened. That's all it is. Leo. Leo. Three of Swords. I'm really surprised at some of the cards that are coming out with this overall energy. Whoa. Whoa. Leos, I really think that you could be looking back at the past and thinking about how different things were then, how much brighter things seemed to you back in the past. And I think it makes you almost homesick for those times. Maybe homesick for a place, but definitely homesick for those times and for the way things used to be with that Three of Swords. Hmm. I'm sorry, Leo. Next up, we're looking at Virgo. Now, y'all, don't start commenting about my negative videos. The tarot is going to reflect real life. Real life is not always sunshine and daisies, so the tarot can't always be sunshine and daisies either. Would do us no good if the tarot lied to us, would it? All right, Virgo. Nine of Wands coming up in reverse. I like this. This tells me that you have some memories coming back. No, I'm going to take that back. I don't think it's memories. I think you're being visited by a little one, and it's a complete surprise to you. I don't think you were expecting this visit. Maybe you're at work and someone brings a little one in to work for the day because they can't get a hold of their normal babysitter or something. Don't know exactly, but it's surprising to you to see this little one in your sphere of influence today, Virgos. Goes against your sense of organization. Next up, we're going to look at Libra. Boop, ba-da-doo-doo, star card. Libras, I think that you guys are sort of daydreaming about what things are going to be like whenever you're talking to people that you know from your past, especially from your childhood. So maybe you're getting together for a high school reunion before long. This is you just kind of daydreaming about how nice that's going to be to talk to those people or to interact with those people again. So it doesn't have to be a high school reunion, but I do think you are daydreaming about what it would be like to talk to some people from your childhood again. Maybe it's not even going to happen. Maybe you're just imagining and thinking about it. Scorpio, Scorpio. Strength card in reverse. This is funny. Scorpio, we could have an ex coming around. We could have somebody from our past coming around that we really had gotten to a point in the relationship where we were just, we had kind of detached from this relationship in the past. With this person coming around now, I think that, um, we are acknowledging that there were some good things that happened in the past and that there will be things worth missing, but not I think we feel like that is making us weak. I think we want to remain detached, and I think that going over some of those good memories from the past does not help that cause. So we may feel like this is making us feel more weak than what we want to. Than what we want to. All right, next up, we're going to look at Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. We're already at Sagittarius. Wow. Boop ba da doo doo. Sagittarius. Lover's card in reverse. Sagittarius, I really think you're looking at a situation where you got away from some kind of partnership, whether it was romantic, business, friendship, some type of family relationship, but you got away from this intense relationship or this partnership. And I think as you're looking back at it, you're realizing, I don't know if you're going to say it's the best thing that ever happened to you, but I do think that you're realizing that that was a good thing. Yeah, maybe there were some good things about that, but I think you're seeing the idea of the separation of that relationship as a blessing, actually. All right, next up, we're looking at Capricorn. Capricorn, Capricorn, Capricorn. What do we have for you? Prince of Pentacles showing up in reverse. Boop-ba-da-doo. Hmm. This is interesting, Capricorns, because it's coming in a couple of ways. I do think, whichever way, I think you're spending some money that you weren't, that's not really necessarily in the budget, so to speak. Um, and for some of you, I think you're spending it either motivated by some old memories, and so you would like to kind of recreate some of those old feelings that you had before. So you may be spending money on something to allow you to do that. Or you could be spending money on something to help some children in your sphere of influence be happy. Or at least that's the goal, that's the aim. Now, if you're trying to recreate something that makes you feel the way you did at another time in your life, I mean, this is probably kind of self-explanatory, but the example that comes to my mind is that, and I'm showing my age a little bit when I say this, but when I was growing up, our ice cream machines were the wooden buckets with the wires around to hold the slats together, with the metal canister in the middle, and you would fill that canister up with whatever you wanted to be in your ice cream besides cream and a little sugar, whatever flavorings you wanted to put in there. And then you would put that all together with some rock salt and some ice, and the bucket had a crank that came out on the side. And so you cranked your ice cream until it was frozen, and you just kept adding ice with a little bit of salt periodically, making sure not to get any in the ice cream canister. And you just kept cranking until it finally became ice cream instead of just cream. And so we would do that. We would always have those ice cream machines outside, out in the backyard, usually under our walnut tree. And us kids would crank and crank and crank. And actually, honestly, truth be told, we got tired. We probably got tired within 2 minutes, each of us. I had six little brothers. Not all of them were ever old enough to crank the ice cream container, I think, before I left the house. But when we all got tired of it, then dad or mom would step in, usually dad, I think, and finish cranking the ice cream until it was edible as ice cream. So for me, something like that Prince of Pentacles in reverse with that Six of Cups would be something like seeing an old ice cream maker with the crank on it, which is hard to find because now they have the electric motors to turn the canister with the ice cream, and getting that to recreate some of the feelings that were around whenever we were making ice cream together as a family under the walnut tree in the backyard. Of course, that'd be pretty hard to really replicate since I'm a grown up now and no walnut trees where I live, and definitely not six little brothers around anymore. But just because we're all over the country now, but still, buying something like that would be an example of spending money on something to recreate a feeling from the past. And with that Prince of Pentacles showing up in reverse, it also talks about the idea that this is money we're taking out of the budget that we really weren't planning on taking out of the budget, whatever this is that we're spending it on. Um, and so knowing that we're going to have to fix that later on. All right, that was enough of that. Let's move on to Aquarius. Aquarius. Justice card showing up in reverse. Hmm. Mhm. Kind of similar to the lovers in reverse. Aquarius, this is really interesting. It's got a little different flavor than who was that? Sagittarius. With that Justice card in reverse, I think there may have been a situation in the past where there may have been a divorce that happened, actually, and it might not have seemed very fair. And it wouldn't necessarily even have to be a legal divorce, although with that Justice card, it would lean towards that. But definitely the splitting up of some kind of partnership. Um, and I'm going to say that even though this was not a decision that was made in any kind of fair way, like whoever decided to have this happen, first of all, I don't think that was you, Aquarius. I do think it was somebody else, but they didn't really base it on anything that was true or real or that had any substance, actually. And so if there was a divorce or a separation of two people, um, here in your past, I think you're looking back at that and you're realizing that if there was kids involved, the kids are probably actually better off. Like it turned out to be a lucky thing to do that because if you would have stayed with this person that left for really unfair reasons, then the kids would have grown up with somebody who was not rational, you know, like that one decision is just an indicator of how this person made decisions in general. And then the other way that this can come in, if there were not kids involved, this is still saying that you're realizing that you really dodged the bullet. You know, you were not very happy while you were with this person. And so when they left, even though they didn't leave for a very good reason, that allowed you to find more of your own happiness and live more of your own authentic life. Hmm. All right, let's look at Pisces. Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. Mhm. Nine of Swords showing up in reverse. Nine of Swords in reverse. Pisces, this is interesting. It looks to me like there may have been somebody that you were dreading having a conversation with or dreading having an interaction with. And once you start interacting with them, you realize that there was nothing to be worried about or anxious about. What you see instead is that this other person is just talking about things that happened in the past that were positive, that felt good, that were signs of good energy. And so I think that you're relaxing pretty quickly once you actually get into this conversation. And I also feel like it's really a relief because you were a lot more anxious about this conversation than what you needed to be. So, where the rubber meets the road and it turns out to be not that big of a deal, this is really awesome for you. Okay, so that's what we've got for everybody. Thank you all so much for being here and for spending some of your precious time with me. I do appreciate it. Remember, I am not pushing VPNs or hair removal products, which means you guys are my sponsors. So please remember, put a thumbs up on this video if you appreciate it at all. Share it out to the world if you think other people might, and put comments down below. Leave me some feedback. I always love to read that. Everybody have a fantastic day. Peace out. Oh, yeah. And if you want a reading, get a hold of me.